Hello everyone and welcome to this Holy Grail Games video. We are here celebrating the launch of the Copan Dying City Kickstarter project. I'm here with Jamie.
Hello everybody.
My name's Georgina and we are going to be giving you all of the deets on how things are going to go over the next 3 weeks. So
here we go again.
you. Yeah, here we go again. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching this live, if you're watching it on repeat, we love you anyway. And we are going to start with... what's an interesting topic to start this Kickstarter chat about?
Well, it's always a tricky one, you know, because for those of you that haven't kind of tuned into our launch videos before, most of the info is already on the main page. You know, everything we can give you is already there. So this is more like a bit of a spotlight, a little bit of a digest into a few different subjects.
Questions of the week.
Yeah, I mean, when
format.
we do this every week,
we do.
Basically, we'll be back every week, and normally we'll be covering frequently asked questions, anything that's changed. And when I say frequently asked questions, it's like, oh, somebody, there's been some stuff that wasn't particularly understood on a rules point, or people would rather like this, or something we changed. So, that's the kind of stuff we get into. It's always a bit tricky to get started for the first week, as, unlike some campaigns, we do try to give you as much information as possible, but that doesn't mean that we don't have stuff to talk about, obviously.
I think what we're basically going to do is talk about the stuff that we think you might be interested in, and hopefully that will be the case. So the Copan Dying City Kickstarter has launched. For those of you who are not aware of what the game is about, you are going to be playing as noble families of the Maya city of Copan. You are trying to increase your influence and wealth, but as you are attempting to do so, the city is going to slowly collapse around you. So this is a 1 to 4 player worker placement game by Eric Dubout and Olivier Mellison. So they are also the authors of quite a few of our games now. The most recent one being Encyclopedia. If you also backed that campaign, thank you so much. And this is going to be 3 different pledge levels that we currently have on the Kickstarter page. We have a base pledge at €60, which is the core game and a few of the little extra exclusive bits.
Yes, exactly. Like the first print bonus, all of that is included.
Exactly. We have a mega all-in pledge with absolutely everything, free expansion, sleeves, deluxe components, so lots of great stuff out there for all of you collectors. And we also have what we call the Acolyte Pledge, which is a kind of intermediate pledge for those of you who are waiting on a specific language version of the game. We could jump straight into languages.
I mean, we could, for sure. So for those of you that followed us on our last campaign, Encyclopedia, we had multiple languages available. Obviously, we do English and French, so that's what's definitely available during the campaign. But we also did German, Italian, Spanish, Polish, Czech, and a couple of other languages as well. Yes. We didn't exactly do them ourselves, but we allowed you to order what was called the Ambassador Pack, which is the equivalent of the Acolyte Pack. Yeah. And what this basically means is that we would provide you with all of the campaign goodies, basically, and you could go and buy the game in your local language when it released, bearing in mind that all of the contents of the Kickstarter stuff was language independent, and we provided rules PDFs to have all the rules in the right language as well. So it was kind of like a half and half, so you could get the language you wanted. You were not forced to buy into English or French. Yeah. There we go. So the issue is not really an issue. We had all of those languages confirmed with Encyclopedia last time. Yeah. Copan, we are still in the final stages, shall we say, of discussion, with basically the same set of distributors for the most part. However, we are still obviously missing the critical element of signatures on dotted lines. Yes. So I don't want to get ahead of us and say we will have these languages available. The main languages, European languages such as German, Spanish, Italian, pretty sure we will have those, maybe even before the end of the campaign. At the very latest, you will know before the end of the Pledge Manager, and we'll get into that in a bit. Yes. But long story short, if you follow us on Encyclopedia and you saw those languages, and we will put a resume of all this on the campaign page as well, we should have hopefully the same amount of languages available at least by the end of the PM.
Yes.
There we go.
So to answer the burning question of what should I do if I would like to have the game in my language and I do not see it available on the Kickstarter page, you can either choose to back at the Acolyte level, or you can simply back at €1. This will give you full access to the Pledge Manager, and when the Pledge Manager comes around, you can decide what you would like to do at that stage. That's absolutely fine. So, yeah, hopefully we should have some more solid information for you by next week.
Obviously, as soon as we get any information about the new languages, you will all be the first to know about it.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, so we,
really
in terms of content, the core box of the game, obviously you get everything that you see here,
Already a lot of game.
which is already quite a lot of game. There are a lot of components that are off to one side of the camera angle, which are for additional players, obviously. What you can see on the table here is a prototype, but it is a very advanced factory prototypes. It looks very nice. And this is pretty much what you would be getting in the final box, down to a few details, obviously, that we're still correcting. We could possibly now talk about where we're at in the project and fun things like timelines and dates. People like those.
So as we kind of started this off, it's very similar to how we did Encyclopedia, because we'll rewind even a little bit further. For those of you that might have been following us for a while, or those that you haven't, hi. So we've had quite a lot of issues over the past 2.5 years due to pandemics, shipping, manufacturing. Basically everything resulted in quite the bottleneck for us. So we racked up some fairly impressive delays on some of our older projects. Now, the important thing to know is that we are normally out of that period. When this project and this video goes live, we should have Museum Deluxe, which is completely fulfilled. Encyclopedia, which was our previous campaign we keep mentioning, which should be fulfilled, or 90% of the way. The packages should all be on their way. Dominations Deluxe and Rallyman, those two will be fulfilled normally before this campaign ends. So we'll be KS0 before this campaign ends. Then once it ends, we'll be at KS1, which we're quite happy about. It makes our lives a lot easier.
It feels good to have finally caught up on all those backlog projects. And by the way, if you are watching this video and you were a backer of any of those projects, we are sorry. We are very, very grateful for your patience. Thank you so much for supporting us during this very, very long, difficult phase with COVID. I think Jamie will agree with me that it's been difficult for everyone involved. And we're just very happy to be seeing games finally get to tables. Museum Deluxe, for example, is currently delivering, almost finished now, actually.
Almost done.
And that was our latest running project by far, 2 years late. And it feels really good to see people getting that.
It's a new page. But honestly, what feels even better is that we said on our last campaign to Encyclopedia that we'd learn from the situation, as it were, everything that happened, the way just the world has a tendency to work now in terms of production, shipping, beginning to end of a project, what it really represents now with today's challenges. And Encyclopedia, we actually financed it at the beginning of this year. March. And we're delivering now around the middle of September at the latest. So
maybe not September.
November. Bearing in mind that we announced the delivery late September, early October. So we're about a month and a little bit late, which is, we came this close. We came this close. It's not much. People keep on telling us that it's not that much of a delay compared to obviously our old projects and some of the campaigns that other people have pledged. But we came very close. We know why we came so close, and we've made sure to take extra measures for this one. But the most important thing is, yes, we've gone from like projects with a lot of delays to a project which we financed and delivered in under a year. And we're applying the same principles here with this game. So everything you see is finished. The core box, apart from some minor little changes and maybe some stuff that you guys will pick up on and let us know about, is basically done. All of the Kickstarter stuff is done, like the Choose Your Own Decline expansion, which we're very excited to talk to you about, but that will be for a future video because it's quite a big subject. That's all done, that's all written, all the narration is done. If we add some extra little goodies in, we'll have to just like refine those a little bit, but basically nothing we can't handle in before Christmas, to be perfectly honest.
We've taken some hard lessons over the past few years on what it is and is not possible to do with a team of 5. I think Encyclopedia was a fantastic trial run for that because that project went so well start to finish. Finishing at this stage, so hopefully it will all have gone well by that stage. We want to reproduce exactly the same model for Copan. So obviously, as Jamie was saying, it is a finished game.
Yes. Exactly.
Obviously, we're still fine-tuning a few bits. We have different reviewers who have given us some feedback, test players who have been giving us some feedback. But in the vast majority, the game is complete at 95%.
Yeah. And whilst we are still listening to feedback, we've been listening to feedback for quite some time with this game now. So unless it's anything really drastic that we've missed, and we should be okay on that with the amount of times we've gone over it with a fine-tooth comb. But maybe you guys will pick up on some spelling mistakes. This is a good point to mention that on the page, obviously all the information you need about the game is there. There is a download for the rulebook if you want to go through the rulebook. The game is available on Tabletopia, so you can try it yourself with your friends online. And of course, we will be in the comment sections to answer any other questions that you guys may have. We're also on certain forums like Board Game Geek. If you guys start a discussion about that, we'll generally tend to pop in to answer questions. If you guys find any spelling mistakes or anything that you think isn't clear enough in the rulebook, just let us know. We'll have a look into it and see if we can change it. That's always really good feedback for us. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. So in terms of timeline, today is November 10th. We have just launched the Kickstarter. The project is going to run until December 1st, so 3 weeks. After that, we will be, stop me if I'm wrong, Jamie, aiming to open the Pledge Manager phase of the project. So for those of you who don't know, this is the phase during which you need to give us your delivery address, pay for your shipping, and then confirm everything that you want in your pledge. Then we close everything down and give the order to the factory. So it's quite an important phase.
It is.
It's actually a very essential phase. If you do not fill in your Pledge Manager, you will not get your game. We cannot stress that enough. So please be sure to pay attention. In December, we'll be doing that. We're aiming to close the Pledge Manager for kind of mid to late January.
That's the one, yes. So this is going to be a short Pledge Manager phase like we did with Encyclopedia. Again, going back to that again, because that worked well. So I apologise in advance for the spam because it's coming.
We're going to be
rather annoying about this.
Yeah, we are.
If we're going to do multiple updates to remind people, if you haven't filled out your PM before the end, we will be trying to email you about it. I think with Encyclopedia we got 99% completion rate, which is the highest we've ever got for any other project. So please do keep an eye on it. Obviously it's going to be after Christmas, it's going to be the new year. Do think to check your inboxes from time to time, check your spams if you're like, I haven't heard from Holy Grail in a while.
Please check your spam. We are basically, you're going to be on a short timeline. But the plus is that you won't have time to forget that you pledged this game.
No.
You will not have time to forget, and you will be able to hopefully fill out all your stuff and receive it in due time without having issues like forgetting and moving and all of this kind of happy stuff that happens a lot on Kickstarter campaigns. So once the PM has closed, we go to production. Production generally lasts a couple of months. We do have the interesting period of Chinese New Year, unfortunately.
Yes. So Chinese New Year is basically, this is from January 21st, I think, this year, all the way through to around the end of February. Obviously, that means all of our production partners will be on holiday, them and their teams, celebrating the new year. So we are going to start hopefully producing this game once they come back. So we're looking at March for the start of production. That's going to last about 2 months normally. Where we got a bit tripped up on Encyclopedia is that shipping is still complicated. Very complicated. And we tried our best to get everything done in advance. So we had all the numbers, we had all the quantities, all the volumes, we knew what was going where. But most shipping companies now won't look at you until the shipment is ready. So despite having provided all of this, they couldn't actually do anything. I'm talking about our shipping partners, not our production partners. They couldn't do anything about getting the games moving until everything was confirmed ready. So that took about a month to actually get the games from the factory onto the boat and gone. So that's a month we have put into this timeline.
Yes.
Now, so we're counting about 3 months to production, 3.5 months.
Yeah.
From factory to boat and on the way to gone. We're looking at, it's around 30 to 45 days delivery. Bearing in mind that when I talk about this, I am only talking about our European and American hubs.
Yes.
We'll talk about the other destinations in a bit.
It can take quite a bit longer.
It can take quite a bit longer.
Yeah. Or not.
It really depends on so many things. The weather, don't get me started, it's a very tedious topic. But we have tried to allow for enough time so we can deliver on time or earlier this time and not get tripped up by something like that.
Sure.
We should hopefully be delivering this in August, September time.
Yes, we've announced August on the Kickstarter page. We've tried to choose a date which is the correct balance of optimistic and realistic. The reason we have bumped an extra 3 months onto our calendar this time compared to the 6 months that we did for Encyclopedia is because, as we stated, we have over a month for Chinese New Year, which isn't something that we had to deal with for Encyclopedia. We've allocated an additional month for shipping stuff because it has been a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's been a nightmare.
It takes longer than you'd expect, sadly.
It continues to be a nightmare. Plus a couple of extra weeks for the fact that just a couple of weeks after this Kickstarter campaign ends, it will be Christmas. A lot of our partners will not be working, whether it be our translators, our graphic designers. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of us.
I would hope.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, we all have the allocated week of food coma that is necessary over the holiday season, and then after that we get back to work. I think the 2nd of January we're back in the offices. So. We've basically tried to make it so that we give ourselves plenty of time to not run late this time around. Obviously, if we can deliver the games earlier, then we're going to do it. But we prefer to be as realistic.
We're probably going to end up delivering probably in September simply because of the summer holidays. Simply so that, otherwise we have to send out in waves, which is more complicated. So it would be better to get everything out at once and everybody has the time, normally in September, to have gotten home from their holidays. Yes. So that's the most secure thing. We don't want packages waiting on doorsteps, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's the timeline as it stands. I mentioned other destinations, so we'll be working again with VFI Asia for delivery to most Asian countries and a lot of the hubs that they cover. So places like Brazil, there will be another hub for you again. We'll also be working with our friends at Let's Play Games, so our Pacific Fulfillment Centre. Yep. So that's Australia and New Zealand. Yep. They'll be helping us out again. Both of them were fantastic with our last project. So we're really glad to be back with them.
Oh, yeah.
Concerning shipping prices, as most of you will know, probably have known, they continue to be fairly stable, but they're still trending upwards, sadly. So there is going to be a slight increase in prices compared to our last project. We're really sorry. There's not really much we can do about that. As we say every single time, the price you pay is what we pay.
Yeah. Often
minus
less.
some, minus some, because
less.
we always subsidise a little bit because it's impossible to know exactly how much you're going to end up paying. So we tend to go just a little bit underneath and take that on our own margins. For a lot of the, I want to say, further destinations like non-EU, non-American, non-Asian and Pacific destinations. So my dudes in Brazil, I'm really sorry, but your shipping will have gone up a little bit because, well, a fair bit, I'm afraid. Because we have always subsidised this beforehand, but it's gone up to a point now where we have to increase the price. We can't subsidise anymore or we lose money on the orders. So it's not perfect, but we do try to make the offer really reasonable for you. We do work with, once again, going back to Brazil, with hubs where we can, so at least you guys don't have to pay import taxes, that kind of stuff. So, you will have noticed a slight increase for some destinations, more for others. We apologise in advance, but that is sadly the price of things. There's very little we can do on that at this time. If, however, once again, everything in the grid is an estimation, and we will be able to tweak it a little bit before the end of the campaign manager, and we will know a little bit later. It may change.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But we try to make an accurate estimation when we do the campaign, so you guys know what you're getting into.
Yeah, and we try and estimate upwards as opposed to downwards because we prefer to announce too much and then lower the prices for the PM than do it the other way around, because obviously that's very annoying when that happens. So so we've talked about what's in the box a bit. We haven't covered the fact that there is a little first edition. Bonus
so there is a little first edition print run. Once again, it's all on the campaign page, but that is every single pledge gets that. That's in the core box, but it won't be appearing in the core box in later pledge runs. That will be like a paid add-on later on. We'll probably use it at conventions and stuff like that. There is a deluxe token set, so it replaces the little bit of cardboard that's left with wooden tokens. We have the Lost Valley expansion, which I talked about before, the Choose Your Own Decline, which is basically going to give you guys even more choice over the destiny of Copan. It's
very cool. We're going to do an entire video on that expansion because I'm very, very excited about this particular expansion. I think it's one of my favourites that we've ever done. And it really does bring something really cool to the game. So we won't talk about it for too long right now.
But there'll be more videos. We can't actually talk about it that much anyway, because there is a narrative aspect to it. Like, you as the rulers of the city will be made to make choices about where you want to go, what you want to happen. So obviously we can't spoil everything. Even if we do a video, it will probably only just be a beginning, so you guys can see how it works. And then the rest you'll have to discover for yourselves.
Absolutely.
But for those of you wondering, basically the end point of all this is that your choices determine what happens to the city. And like these placed in front of me, they are capable of replacing basically every single element in the game. So your choices have a real impact.
It's so cool.
And whether you play the narrative mode or you just want to play a normal game, but have a little bit of more variety about what can happen during the game, they are compatible with that as well. So lots of options. It's
very cool. And I mean, Encyclopedia is also a very good game, but Copan Dying City, which is the game we're actually here talking about, I'm tired, is, I realised earlier also I said this expansion is really cool while stifling a yawn, which really sells it.
It's been a long couple of months with all the shipping we've been talking about.
It really is a cool expansion in spite of the yawn, but but Copan Dying City is already a very meaty game with a lot of replayability simply due to the large amount of extra cards, extra tiles, things that can come out completely differently, and they really
event cards. We will talk more about event cards in the future, do not worry.
And it really changes the sensation of the game each time you play. So the fact that the designers managed to come up with an expansion that doesn't make the game any more complicated, but brings something really unexpected to it. It's kind of a story mode, campaign mode, choose your own adventure.
But it never ends well.
Well, you know, unfortunately and historically, things did not go well for the city of Copan.
No, it did not.
You know, we're very much staying on trend, on theme with that. But yeah, it's a really interesting expansion to try out. I can't wait to tell you guys more about it.
We'll get into that later.
Absolutely. So if you have the base pledge, you get the core game plus the first edition goodie cards. I think there are 19 of those.
20, 25.
But it's somewhere around that particular
but it's a non-negligible pack of cards.
Yes.
Once again, all the information is on the campaign page.
Gifts and things. And then you get the base game plus those, and if you go for the all-in, you get all the things. So.
All the things are available separately as well. So if you just want the base game and the narrative expansion, you can get those separately, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
I think we've covered most things there.
I think we have. I think we're already starting to run a little bit longer than we had originally planned, but. If you have already backed the game, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If this conversation has perhaps swayed you in one direction or the other, happy to help. We will obviously be on the campaign page. If you are receiving replies from people, it will probably be from one of us. We are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, Board Game Geek, we're on Twitter, we're all over the place.
We're fairly... spread around.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions, you know, most of what we said, once again, what you guys need to know, we've tried to make it as clear as possible. Everything about the game, about how the project runs, everything.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions, though, you know where to find us. We're in the comment section. We're on all the different social media platforms. Just let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this first video. Like I said, we'll be back with at least 2 more, perhaps with the game authors, if I can wrangle them in. You know, we'll definitely be talking about the Lost Valley expansion. And of course, if there's any particular questions that you want us to cover, then we are very happy to do so. Thank you once again, everyone, and we will see you soon on the campaign.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Have a nice week.